So this is a World Anvil diplomacy web. And here's another one that's slightly different. These are interactive graphs of your organization's diplomatic relationships. In this case, I'm focusing on megacorporations in my cyberpunk world, but you could use it for countries, religions, guilds, bard colleges, even crime families. As part of the same feature, you can show or hide the exact nature of the relationships between your organizations in the sidebar, like this. You can even add notes to keep track of why they love or hate each other. In this tutorial, I'm going to take you through how to build a diplomacy web just like this on World Anvil. So diplomacy webs are a feature of the organization template, which means to start with, you'll need some articles using the organization template. This is the Articles and World Manager. You can also reach it by clicking here. And you can see here are the organization articles that I have. I've organized them under megacorporations. To create a new article, you can either click plus article, or to create an article in a category, you can just click this plus button. I'm going to select the organization template, and then I'm going to give my article a title and some description. I'm going to add an icon because I like to do that for my articles. And I'm going to add a tag that will come in useful later. My tag is going to be megacorporation because that's how I'm identifying and grouping these kinds of organizations together. But yours can be whatever makes sense for your world. Diplomacy webs have a default image, but they look really cool if you add your own. I'm going to add this one. And remember, you can just drag and drop an image into this space from your computer as well. So that's my organization article created. And you'll need a couple of these in order to start diplomacy webs. Remember, it tracks the diplomatic relations between different organizations. So now you have several organization articles, it's time to add some diplomatic relationships. You can access the diplomacy settings on any organization article template by clicking this button here. Let's add our first diplomatic relationship to our Revisom company. This drop-down should show all the organization template articles in your world. Select one to make the relationship. Next, you're going to decide how Revisom feels about Neurophon. They quite like them. And how Neurophon feels about Revisom. They're not so keen. Next, give this relationship a title. I'm going to call them Cautiously Neutral. Under Advanced Settings, you can write notes to elaborate on the relationship. This is really useful when you come back and look at your organizations to remember why you chose the relation scores up here that you chose. Once you've filled out your diplomatic relationship, hit Create. You can click to edit your diplomatic relationship at any time and then save changes. Now we've created our first relationship, click Refresh on the graph, and you can now see the relationship between Neurophon and Revisom is represented on the diplomacy web. Continue building out diplomatic relationships like this by choosing new parties and defining their relationships. Now I've added 4 relationships, you can see my diplomacy web is starting to come together. So how do you add a diplomacy web to your article? Click this clipboard icon to copy the relationship block, and then just paste it into your article. In the visual mode, it will display as a block like this. And let's have a look at the presentation mode. There we go. We can see our diplomacy web, and as we mouse over the different entities, we can see more information about how they feel about one another. But I can also add the individual relationship details to the article as well. To do that, I'm going to click Show Relationship List on the article sidebar. That's going to show these 4 relationships on the sidebar as widgets, and it's going to show the notes as well. With this slider on, here's how it looks in presentation mode. And one more pro tip before we go further. Diplomacy webs look great, but they look even better when they're embedded in the full width footer. You're going to copy the relationship block in the same way, and then on your article, click Add Prompts, select the footer section, and select Full Width Footer. Then just paste the BB code in. In presentation mode, here's how it looks in the regular body of your article, and here's how it looks in the full width footer. You can see it just has a little bit more space to breathe down here. It's up to you where you decide to embed it, but these are some options that you can use. Now I'm going to open another article, Neurophon. I've already set up a relationship between Revisom, my new article, and this one. And you can see it right here on the other article too. You can also see that Revisom, the new article I created, is automatically propagating in the Neurophon diplomacy web. As you add more relationships, the system will remember those and they'll be presented across all of your diplomatic webs. No need to update every article manually. But let's talk about that other kind of diplomacy web. You can see this diplomacy web focuses on Neurophon. Every organization only shows their relationship towards the central entity. But what if I want to see a relationship of all of my megacorporations? Well, I'm going to choose the megacorporation tag from this list. And voila! Suddenly, you can see all of the interactions between all of the different organization articles with the megacorporation tag. That's why we added the tag earlier. You can see Twilight City Police also has a diplomatic relationship with Neurophon, but because Twilight City Police doesn't have the megacorporation tag, it won't appear in this tagged diplomacy web. Tags are really useful for filtering down different kinds of relationships. For example, religions and countries and guilds can all have diplomatic relationships with each other. But you can also use something like a religion tag to filter down just your religions or just your guilds. It helps you make sense of the complex diplomatic interplay you've created in your world building. To embed this tagged diplomacy web, you can just, like with the other one, click Copy Relationship Tag Block and paste it into your article. And here's how it looks in presentation mode. You can see in this one right now, Accutech doesn't currently have diplomatic relations with any other of the companies. I can build those out by going to the Accutech article and just adding the diplomatic relationships here under diplomacy settings. Easy peasy. And that's how to use diplomacy webs and diplomatic relationships in your World Anvil articles. If you have questions, you can find the full guide to diplomacy webs in our Learn section. Find that at worldanvil.com/learn, or simply click the wizard's hat on the right-hand side, and you can search here. And if you're creating organizations, you might find it useful to create one of these, a content tree, to plan out the pecking order of your company. You can create content trees with any kind of article. They're not restricted to one type of template like diplomacy webs. Here I've used them to plan out the hierarchy of an 18th century aristocratic family. I've also used them for species trees and magic systems in the past. You can learn more about how to make them by clicking through to this tutorial next. And I'll see you over there. Now, grab your hammer and go world build.